So what we're gonna do for the sales portion is, since we're all fitness coaches in here, I wanna do a proper discovery, but a lot of you guys have already trained as well, so I don't wanna just like go through those questions. We'll do it interactive, and then we'll get like an ideal prospect that you guys are speaking with on a daily basis, go through the entire discovery, and then handle all of the objections that you guys have, and then we can also do a Q&A as well. Does that sound good? Yep. So I'll pick on all you guys, and we'll kind of just like keep it flowing. Also make it a little bit harder for me too. Like if you guys are getting prospects where you're asking certain questions and they're like really standoffish, you have to be able to get past that in order to like go to the next question. Does that make sense? So the way I always like to explain discovery is you want to act like you're a kid in the candy store, and you don't want to go into the next question until you actually get the answer to then proceed with the proper discovery. Okay, so let's go over this first. Anybody can just, you don't have to raise your hand or anything. Who is like an ideal prospect? How many pounds do they want to drop? What's the overall goal? And then everybody will get a deep understanding of what that looks like. And then we'll go through everybody. I'll ask you guys questions and then just throw answers at me. And then I'll continue on with the discovery. Then for the objections, we'll also go over whatever objections you guys are getting. So first things first, who are like the prospects that you guys are speaking with, and what's the overall goal if they work with you for, let's just say, like 12 months?
Okay, so my ideal client doesn't necessarily have an X amount of weight they want to lose. They're more like stuck in patterns of stopping and going.
Okay.
And never following through.
Okay.
And then what was the other part that you wanted to know?
We'll just do that, but I'll kind of get like a general idea of like the prospect. Anybody, whatever you guys are struggling with in terms of like the questions that you're asking, like who's the client that you're going to work with?
I definitely get women that want to tone up.
Okay.
You know, and they're like, I'm happy where I'm at. You know, it's not like I'm miserable, and they're almost like justifying as if
Yep.
it's not that big of a deal because I'm not at rock bottom, I'm not obese, but it's like, well, you're also saying you're unhappy with your body and you know you have more potential.
Yes.
So like, that's kind of a lot of people I get.
Exactly. So they almost have like an ego and a shield up by saying like they're really not in that bad of a position, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
What happens in a month or in a year if nothing changes? They're like, well, I'll be fine, just where I'm at.
Beautiful.
Are you
Okay.
cool with that?
Yeah. All of you guys remember that. So when I go to ask you a question, if I ask you something, you're like, I'll be just fine. Remember, because that's going to be something that we'll actually have to address. Okay. What about for you?
My sweet spot is women, obviously in their 30s, wanting to drop 20 pounds and kind of see that overall rebound, you know,
Okay.
from like skinny fat to like bikini body all year round.
Beautiful.
And then women would like demanding like lives, new moms, new brides. You know,
So super busy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And wanting to find consistency for that.
Nail.
Yeah, so I'm working with postpartum moms, and they're just struggling to feel like themselves again. Like what they did before is no longer working. They're noticing it's really hard to drop weight, and this is like the pregnancy or the baby that they had that just kind of made it really difficult for them.
Okay. How many months would they be like struggling with it before they actually hop on?
Ideally, I would love to. Ideally, I really like when somebody's like 1 year, six months to 1 year.
Okay.
But I get anybody who's like, 3 months to 3 years.
Okay.
It just depends.
Yeah, beautiful. And just so you guys know, anytime somebody says anything less than 3 months, it's really not going to be enough of a struggle. So then we're going to have to go more like desire based. If it's like 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, that's when it's going to be enough pain to be able to withdraw it, right? Let's go with some of the guys. Luis?
So my ideal client is Tyler. Tyler won a national championship. And he was partying, but retired in sports. He retired, and then he just kind of went into the vicious cycle of trying to get jacked, but with the same workouts that he was doing to play baseball, and he never saw the results he wanted.
Okay, got it. And then Jack, how about you? The last one?
Same type of thing, yeah, like the former college athlete, and they gained about like 10 to like 30 pounds after their career. And
Okay.
They just kind of want to feel like how they did when they were playing.
Okay, beautiful. So if you guys notice as well, the reason I'm asking a lot of you guys this is you can basically ask the same questions for all of the people that you just told me, right? And even like I sell a lot of business to business now, like $25,000, $30,000, $40,000 deals. I still ask the same questions in discovery. And so people think that they have to change the discovery based on the type of prospect that they're speaking with. If it's selling real estate, B2B, B2C, you can basically ask the same questions. It's just going to be based on the prospect that you're speaking with, how deep you actually want to dig, right? So now that we have an understanding, let's just say they want to drop 20 pounds. They've been struggling with it for a year to 2 years. Maybe they're a mom, they're postpartum, okay? Now we're going to go around and I'll pick on you guys, or you guys can just come off mute. I feel like I'm in a Zoom room right now. Everybody come off mute. Come off mute, don't raise your hand. So I'll just ask you, we'll go through the proper discovery, and then I'll have something pulled up right here, but this is also to show you guys, like, so many people think that they have to follow a script, and when you feel like you have to follow a script, I was just doing a training, and he was going through the relationship and the spousal objection. And as soon as the guy gave him an answer that wasn't in the script, he was completely lost in the way to go. So then he just started talking about the benefits and the guarantee and completely lost the deal because the guy threw an answer that he had no clue how to answer, right? So from here, let's go all the way through discovery. And then real quick, any of the girls, guys, what are the main objections that you're also getting at the end of the call? So we'll run that, and then when we get to the objection aspect, we can do partner, finances, whatever it is. Carlos?
Let me just get my finance straight and sure we'll start on Monday.
Okay, beautiful. Michaela, Julia?
It's always money, always finances. There's nothing else that I come across.
Really? You don't get like a partner objection or
I
anything?
mean, yeah, but that's money too. It's like I don't want to talk about the money with my spouse.
Cool. Lizzie, Julia?
Yeah.
Money? Anybody? Spouse? Finances? Spouse? Okay, so spouse and finances.
Pretty much, yeah.
And spouse, like Michaela just said, is going to be a smokescreen 90% of the time. I mean, we just had a call for Beyond Built yesterday where she was in so much pain and she was going to do it for her family. But then when we got down to the end of it, she was like, I don't have any money to me right now. My husband just left. And I don't have his credit card. And so I've come to the conclusion that there's some people that I will absolutely burn and like absolutely challenge their bloodline. But she then texts me in chat after she sends her card details because she got it from her partner. She's going to start next week. So you have to be very careful if you want to burn them. You can basically just use your human intuition if you want to burn them or not. And I can also show you what. So basically, not a hard close, but challenging them to the level where they are so uncomfortable that they keep saying, no, I'm still going to speak about it with my spouse, or no, I'm still going to think about it. Like 5 or 6 think about it before you actually, and if you didn't get past the spouse or think about it, you never got past the smoke screen to see where the real uncertainty was. So at the end of that, I will say something along the lines, and we can go into this when we objection handle. Can you genuinely get off of this call knowing that you just told me for the last 40 minutes that you don't feel confident, you don't have energy for your kids, you don't feel good for your husband anymore, and you're still willing to keep that way of decision making and allow the fear to overcome you rather than you overcoming it? Like you can actually hit your head to the pillow tonight knowing that you're not taking every action step necessary to become the best version of yourself. Can you actually get off of this call knowing that? And then at that point, it gets a little spicy, right? And so, yeah.
Hard to hear.
And so it's very hard to hear. And then at that point, so at that point, you'll get something like, I'm not telling you no, I'm just telling you that I'm going to go and think about it. And then that is when you have the decision that you could either burn them and have them hang up on you. So I just had somebody hang up on me because it was this guy. He was like, I'm not making the decision right now. I know I need to. And he kept like saying that he knew he needed to, but he was like, I'll just think about it over the night or so. And so at the end of the call, I said, can you genuinely say that you actually have to go and think about it, or are you just allowing the fear to overcome you right now? And so let's just be honest. When you go and get off of this, you already know what the decision is. You already know it's a no. You just aren't going to be man enough if I'm speaking to a guy to tell me no right now because you're afraid to tell me no. And you're afraid to tell yourself no. You just don't want to admit it. And it's a lot easier for you to get off of this call without making an actual decision. And then at that point, it's holding the mirror up. They could come back and be like, damn, you're so right. But 99% of the time, they're just going to hang up on you.
I've never been hung up on this before.
Try to get hung up on.
Try to get hung up on.
No, literally, if you are getting a lot of objections and you're not overcoming them and you're closing below like 50%, do yourself a favor and get hung up on.
Yeah.
Because once you get hung up on once, it's so uncomfortable and you're like, holy shit, like you will be sweating, you'll be so, like your heart will be racing, but then once you get hung up on once, you're like, okay, I just challenged that person in a way that nobody else has ever challenged them. Somebody posted in the Winch channel, I forget, was it you, Luis? Where somebody posted it and they said that they challenged somebody, so I forget who it was, but somebody said that they challenged them and had such a real conversation when the person said that they wanted to think about it, and then the prospect ended up telling them, I'm signing up with you because I've spoken to 3 or 4 other coaches, and as soon as they said, I want to think about it, they just let them go, instead of like holding that mirror up. So people love that because they don't have anybody to do that in their life.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
Because once they're in coaching, you're going to challenge them in that way in the areas
Yeah.
where they're struggling.
Yeah.
And they can see that.
And also when you challenge somebody to a certain extent, now we're kind of getting out of like where I wanted to go, but when you challenge, no, you're good. When you challenge somebody to a certain extent and they accept the challenge and like you are able to go through the full framework that we'll do today, they are going to come into the program being one of the best clients that you ever had because you just help them overcome all of their fear and all the way of decision making that they've had for the last 3 or 4 years. And if you can help them do that, and then you can hold them to a high standard from the moment that they join for the next week, for the next 6 weeks, for the next 12 months, they're going to be one of the best clients that you'll ever have. right? Cool. All right, so let's dive into the discovery aspect. And if you guys are taking notes, just write down what questions I'm asking, okay? I'll also throw in two things that even if I've trained a lot of you guys in here actually, but I'm gonna show you something that I haven't necessarily told you before as well, okay? So who wants to start? And then I'll kind of just pick around the room. I'm just gonna ask you a question.
As like a role play?
Yeah, everybody's gonna role play though, just so you know. Everybody's gonna come off mute. You wanna start? Okay, beautiful. So let's just say, again, prospect is gonna be somebody who wants to drop 20 pounds. They have a partner, so that way you could give a partner objection. And then you guys can just come up with the struggles, okay? So whatever the struggles have been, how long it's been, whatever it is, okay? All right, so in terms of also setting the rapport, just so you guys know, because a lot of people miss this, I don't like to set rapport for more than like 2 or 3 minutes. So everybody's like, don't talk about the weather, don't talk about where you are, but that's just a genuine human conversation. If somebody hears you open it up like that, they're gonna be like, oh, okay, this person's a real human. So let's just imagine that we're getting on a call, okay? So you pick up the phone and then we hop on, I'll be like, hey, how you doing today? Where are you calling in from?
Hey, I'm in Florida, St. Pete, kind of near Tampa.
Okay, cool, I'm in Tampa as well, awesome. Cool, so I mean, you have like 45, 60 minutes to chat. I have your application pulled up, and that answered a lot, so it's gonna save us a lot of time, but I still wanna ask you some more questions. Is that okay?
Yeah, totally.
Cool. So over the next 12 months, we have a 12-month program. What are you looking to accomplish specifically within your physique?
Specifically, I definitely want to lose like 20 pounds. I feel like I would just, fit into some of my clothes a bit better. Probably just overall be healthier. I was closer to like 140.
Okay.
160.
Gotcha. So you're at 160 right now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then in terms of where you currently are in terms of like feeling healthy, confidence, et cetera, what does that look like?
I mean, I feel fine. Like my day-to-day life, it's not like I hate what I see in the mirror or anything. I just know I could be a bit better.
Okay, gotcha. So, but just so I have those numbers as well, you said you're 160 and you want to get down to 140?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, beautiful. And then the last time that you were at 140, that's when you felt like the most confident version of yourself? Is that why you want to get down to that number? Or where does that number actually come from?
Yeah, I mean, last time I was 140, I kind of did it in like an unhealthy way. It was like post-breakup,
Gotcha.
wasn't eating much, so I'd like to be at that weight, but more healthy.
Okay, gotcha. And then I'm just gonna ask the group so I don't have to pick on any of you guys. Anybody just answer. So how long have you actually been trying to get down to 140 from 160?
For the last 2 months.
2 months? So you've only gained the weight over the last 2 months, or has it actually been longer than that? Like you've been trying for the last 2 months? Like when was the last time that you were actually 140?
No, it was like a year and a half ago.
Okay, gotcha. So those are two different answers, right? I guess you've been trying for the last 2 months, but you've really been noticing it kind of creeping up on the scale for the last year and a half, 2 years then?
I would say that, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. And then just so I have a clear understanding, one of you guys, what are you currently doing on a daily basis to go from 160 to 140? Like what does that actually look like in terms of your training, habits, nutrition, et cetera?
I go to the gym like on a good week 4 times.
What's a good week?
Sometimes it's like 2 or 3, depends on work and life.
How often does a good week happen?
I would say like the past month has been good, so maybe like the past month.
A good week happens.
Maybe like once a month.
Okay.
It's a lot where people are just like,
No, that's good. Yeah, absolutely. So just so I'm clear, because the reason I'm asking these questions is because I want to be able to meet you where you're at, right? Like if you come in and you tell me that you're going to the gym 4 days a week consistently for the last year, then I'm going to be able to meet you there. If you tell me it's only been for 2 to 3 weeks, and then I give you 5 days a week, the chances of you being able to adhere to that are significantly lower, right? So for the last year and a half, what have your habits actually looked like? Workouts, nutrition, et cetera?
I'm pretty inconsistent, but I usually get there at least
2
2 times a week.
times a week, okay. And then in terms of your nutrition, what does that look like on a daily basis as well?
Nutrition, I've been meal prepping, so meal prep just lunch weekly, and then I've just been trying to eat healthier in general, but I'm not really like tracking or anything like that.
Okay, and then I know this has been going on for the last year and a half, so you've been meal prepping lunch for the last year and a half, or how long have you been meal prepping for?
Like 6 months.
Okay, and then what is breakfast, dinner, snacks? Are you like,
Breakfast is, I kind of hit or miss depending on like if I'm up in time for work, then I can cook up some eggs or something, but otherwise I'll just
Okay, so you're probably eating out like a couple days a week as well
Yeah.
for breakfast, and then what about for dinner?
Dinner's pretty consistent. It's usually just like a meat and some veggies and a carb.
Are you cooking that at home, or are you eating
Yeah,
out?
I like that at home.
How many days a week are you eating out for like everything, breakfast, dinner, lunch? Just so I could get a clear understanding.
Including the weekends, maybe like 5.
5 days a week?
No, 5 times.
Okay, 5 times. Okay, gotcha. And again, the reason I'm asking that, I'll kind of do some monologue for you guys as well. Whenever you guys are getting financial objections, I want to get a clear understanding of like what they do for work, how many days a week they're eating out. I spoke to somebody in WWA that they showed how much they were saving on DoorDash after working with a prospect for like 6 months. It was like $1,300 a month. Because if you eat out 5 to 10 times a week, let's just say, it's anywhere from like $20 to $40 a meal.
I never had.
Right? Yeah. So if you DoorDash, like I DoorDashed last night, it was $75. Yeah. Right. And it's gonna be, it's gonna be significantly more. So when I get a clearer understanding of what their habits look like, I'm gonna have a deeper understanding of how much they're spending. Right. And when you can have an understanding that they're investing in other things that aren't actually serving them, then how much easier is it gonna be able to handle their financial objections that they can't afford $400 or $500 a month? Right? So they're spending money on things that aren't serving them, when in reality it's going to take some sacrifice, and if they eat in, they're going to save $400, $500 a month from that alone. Okay, so that's why I was asking that. Okay, so Michaela, for you, I have an understanding that, let me just see. You have been, so far, we've been struggling for the last year and a half. We want to drop 20 pounds. You're working out inconsistently, but we can say 2 times a week. Also, just so you know, when people say that, it's probably not even 2 times a week. Like they are actually lying. They just want to say that just because they want to feel better about what they're doing. So it's probably even less than that. It's probably 2 times a week on a good week, and then the 3 other weeks out of the month, they're not actually lifting. Okay, so now we're getting a deeper understanding. Again, these questions aren't really moving the needle forward that much. I'm just getting a good understanding of where they're at, so they don't feel like I'm drilling them yet. At this point, now that we've got that, now that we've got what they've tried, et cetera, now what we're gonna do is start drilling it and bridging that gap a lot bigger, okay? So let's just say, for you, let's go, do you believe that everything that you are currently doing, the inconsistent workouts, meal prepping lunch, maybe getting some steps in outside of work, do you believe that all of that is gonna get you to where you wanna be as quickly as you want? Or is that the reason that you got on this call with me, to see if I can get you there significantly faster?
Well, I was really just wanting to get some information, but I do feel like I'm, if I try really, really hard and, I am really trying hard, so I feel like if I keep doing this, maybe I might get where I'm trying to go.
Okay, and I love that confidence within yourself, but I also heard a lot of uncertainty in that answer. I heard like, maybe if I keep trying what I'm doing, maybe I'll get there. Do you believe that you and your goals deserve that level of uncertainty, or do you believe that you want to wake up on a daily basis feeling, absolutely, I'm going to get there?
I do believe that I want to wake up feeling like I absolutely can get there, but I am really concerned about what it's going to cost for me to get there.
Yeah, absolutely, and we'll get into that as well, right? I mean, let's just say that this program was $20,000, which it's not, but I was able to help you drop these 20 pounds, feel like the best version of yourself that you've ever felt in your life. Do you think that it would be worth it, because we can't even put a price tag on how valuable that is?
Yeah, I mean, if it's not going to, affect my family, sure, we'll have to see.
Right, and I mean, finances affect our family, but I guess to the level of lack of confidence that you've been feeling, the fact that you've been overweight for the last year and a half, the fact that you don't really feel the best in yourself with your husband, how much has that been affecting your family?
I would say a lot.
Right, and so again, we'll talk about the finances, that's not a big deal at all, but do you believe that what you were doing actually can get you to where you want to be with 100% certainty right now, yes or no? Okay, gotcha. And I'm glad that you're honest, right? Because if you did say yes, then I would ask you, what are we even doing on this call? It wouldn't really make sense for us to be on this call if you knew that you were going to be able to get to where you want to be, right? Because people that get on this call, they know that they've been trying things for a prolonged period of time, and it hasn't gotten them to where they want to be as quickly as they want, right? That's the only reason I would ever look for a coach. So it seems like we're on the same page with that? Okay, beautiful. And I guess in terms of what you have been doing, what do you feel as if has been like the biggest struggle for you that's really been holding you back from actually dropping these 20 pounds, especially since you've been looking to do it for the last year and a half?
It's basically that I do really well from Monday through Friday, but then on the weekends, I go out with my wife, the kids, and then, it's just fast food getting in the way, and then an ice cream here, an ice cream there, and that's just my constant struggle.
Okay, gotcha. So it sounds as if what you're struggling with isn't the fact that like you're lacking information, right? Because in reality, we have Claude, ChatGPT, we have all the information in the world. Like I give so many free tips for fitness on my program, right? It sounds as if what you're missing is a level of consistency and accountability then. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, exactly.
Because I mean, if you had the level of accountability that would make it so you are more consistent on the weekends, how much faster do you think you'd actually get to your goals?
Probably a lot, but it just gets really tough on the weekends. It's just I get these cravings, and then I got this, being burned out from the week, and
Yeah,
weekends
no.
are tough.
Yeah, absolutely, because you just want to like relax all the stress from how busy you've been throughout the week, right? And just spend time with your loved ones and your family, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I mean, I completely get it. Like, I've been there before, and a lot of the clients that I work with feel this exact same way. I guess, do you believe if you had a structured program that made it so you could still enjoy food, you could go to the gym the proper amount of days that are going to make it so you're as efficient as possible in the gym, do you think that you'd still be feeling that way on the weekends if you knew that the plan that you were doing is actually going to get you to your goals?
I want to think so.
Right? I mean, because if what you're currently doing isn't going to get you to where you want to be, and that's been the biggest struggle, I guess, Julia, in terms of what you've been struggling with most, like that inconsistency, where have you really seen that popping up personally?
Sorry, I was not ready.
No, you're good. So,
I guess it's like sometimes I go to the gym and sometimes I like don't go to the gym like that.
yeah, because he was just saying that the main thing that he's been struggling with that's been holding him back from dropping 20 pounds is a level of consistency and accountability. So the question that I'm asking now, this is where we're going to start really bridging the gap, is where this is showing up in their personal life, right? So now that he said that he's been struggling with that and that lack of consistency has basically held him back from seeing the progress that he wants to see, I want to know where it's showing up in his personal life as well. So basically from that question of what are you struggling with, they give you that answer. That's usually that question where I'll ask, what does it cost you mentally, physically, and emotionally to be struggling with it?
Yeah, ask me again.
Okay, beautiful. Let's go. So in terms of that struggle with lacking consistency, lacking accountability, where have you really noticed that popping up in your personal life on a daily basis?
I mean, I'm like already pretty confident, so I don't think it really like affects my confidence. It's just like, yeah, I don't think it's really like affecting my life right now.
Gotcha. So the reason that people will usually get on a call like this is because they realize that they're consistently putting in effort, and then that effort isn't reaping the benefits that they want. Is that how you've been feeling based on everything that you just told me today?
I mean, yes, like I obviously want to like look leaner and like more toned and like shredded.
Where does that desire come from?
Wanting to feel like an athlete again.
And when you do accomplish that, are you going to have more confidence?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure my confidence will be higher and like I'll feel, better in my clothes and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But
And I'm not saying,
still pretty confident.
no, absolutely. I'm not saying that you absolutely have to hate your life to join this program, right? That's honestly the clients that I work with that absolutely come from rock bottom. Those are the ones that are usually the hardest to get out of the cycle that they've been in. But the woman that, like yourself, where you know that you have confidence, you're feeling good, but you know that there's an extra level that you're able to accomplish if you have the proper amount of support. It seems as if that's the reason that you're on this call, right?
Yeah.
And so when it comes down to that lack of consistency, because if you had that consistency in the skills and the accountability, there'd be no reason that you're not accomplishing your goals, correct?
Correct, yeah.
And it's been a year and a half since you've like been really pushing towards this, but you haven't really been able to get to where you want to go.
Right.
And you seem like you're a relatively like high performing woman, right? And whenever I speak to high performing women, they are crushing it in their career, they have a good relationship, but there's something about not being able to accomplish their goals that kind of irks them inside. And I know for me, that's exactly how I am, where if I'm consistently putting effort in towards something I'm not able to accomplish it, I want to get help as fast as possible so that way I don't have to stay stuck in that cycle. Is that kind of where your mindset has been for it?
Yeah, I feel like it would, like, I'm just so used to having a coach my entire life. And
Yeah.
having a plan that I just need to execute on,
Yeah.
which is why I'm kind of on this call.
Yeah, exactly. And so the fact that you haven't had that coach for the last couple of years since you left college and you haven't been able to accomplish your goals, I'm not saying that you don't have enough confidence to like walk out and feel good in your dress and feel good at date night, but where has it really been impacting you mentally to not be able to accomplish your goals the way that you want to?
I guess like my shirts are just like getting tighter and like I'm looking at photos of myself and just
Absolutely. So do you guys see, like, when you get a difficult answer, like that's a difficult answer, right? Because then you basically have to tell them that they're just lying to themselves. And I don't want to tell them that they're lying, but I'm just going to utilize everything that they told me earlier on in the call to be like, there's obviously a reason that we're on this call. If she kept telling me, like she could have just been really mean right now and then just kept telling me that, no, she's the most confident she's ever been, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, then I'm basically going to have to end the call because there's no desire or no pain for me to sell to, right? So that was beautiful. So Lizzie,
Can I ask you a question?
yeah,
So say she stayed with that.
Yeah.
Like, would you be like, so why did you fill out the application? Why are we here on the call if you are so confident? What's the
yeah,
disconnect?
yeah, no, 100%. At that point, I would probably skip all the next questions I was going to ask. And I would ask, what is the reason that we're on this call now? Considering you've been struggling with this for the last year and a half, but you're still the most confident. If you accomplish this, it doesn't sound like it's going to be worth it. So I could tell you that this program is $2, like the way that Naima asked it, like it just depends on how much it's going to cost. I'd be like, I could tell you it's $2 and you wouldn't be willing to give me $2 because you're not going to be able to see any benefit from it. So like the only reason people get on coaching calls is because they are struggling with something and they want a coach to be able to get them out of that situation. Unless we're just like in a completely different universe right now and you're only here to like have a conversation and be a friend. But I have a feeling that's not the reason that you're here. So like what is the actual reason that you're here if you are already confident and you're accomplishing all your goals and you believe that you're going to get to where you want to be as quickly as you want? Because at that point, I don't have anything to be able to help you with. And then they'll either open up or they'll be like, no, you know what? You're right. I've never had, like over 4,000 calls, I've never had somebody tell me like, you're right to that, right? Cool. All right, so now let's keep going because this is where, is this helpful so far, guys? Yeah? Cool. So I'm just used to people staring at me behind a Zoom screen, not in a real person. So now that we have where the pain is, it's still not enough of a pain for them to be like, I'm going to make a change today. But I just got the fact that her shirts have been feeling tighter. She lacks accountability. She had a coach her whole life. And now that she doesn't have that, I guess, structure, she isn't able to get to where she wants to go. Okay? So Lizzie, in terms of your shirt feeling a little bit tighter, it sounds as if that kind of happens with, like when you're going out for date night with your husband and maybe when you're like going to the beach and hanging out with friends. Like where have you actually noticed that popping up where it's kind of been bothering you? And the reason I ask is because I know you've been struggling with this for a year and a half, but I'm assuming it's been popping up more and more as of lately. And usually when something pops up more than a couple times in a week, we're like, okay, we should probably make a change now or else it's just gonna get worse, right? So where have you really noticed it popping up in terms of your like personal life, your dating, et cetera?
I definitely notice it when I like get dressed for work in the morning. I feel like none of my clothes are fitting me right now.
Gotcha.
I don't have to go buy new clothes. Clothes are expensive.
Yeah.
My work clothes are.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's summertime here, and like I do want to go to the beach with my friends. Because putting a bikini on is just it's not happening.
Yeah, no, and I really appreciate that too. So it sounds as if like, I know earlier you mentioned it depends on how much this costs, right? For you to be able to move forward with something like this. In terms of the way that you've been feeling, what does that really cost you? Mentally, physically, and emotionally? I mean, even in your relationships. Like where has it really been popping up?
Like my social life.
Yeah. Also, I mean, how long have you and your partner been together?
3 years.
3 years, and I'm assuming you were a lot more confident when you met him. And I know you said that you have the confidence that you want right now, but based on the answers that you just gave me, it sounds like there's a lot more confidence that you're going to be able to unlock when you actually find that structure, correct?
Yeah.
So would you agree that staying where you are and staying stuck in the decision making that you've been making, that's going to be significantly more expensive than any investment that you can make within yourself? Because it sounds like this has been weighing significantly heavier in every single area that you could ever imagine, right? And so the reason I'm asking that question, just so you know, because people will tell you, honestly, sometimes I'll even ask, what's been holding you back from getting a coach? If they've been at it for like a year to 2 years, I'll ask them what's been holding them back. They're gonna say finances. Same exact way that you told me, it just depends on how much it costs. Like I've gotten that on a lot of calls, and then immediately I'll just ask, what does it cost them mentally, physically, and emotionally? But you have to be able to get that question first, where Julia told me that her shirt's fitting tighter. You told me that you don't even want to go to the beach in a bikini. I'm not going to dig too deep. I always like to say that's 2 to 3 layers deep, because later when we get to the question of why, it's going to unravel all of it. And now the bridge is huge for me to be able to, bless you, for me to be able to say like this program's going to be $6,000 and they don't even bat an eye at that. Okay? So now that we have all of that, any questions popping up so far? Million questions? No, ask me.
So what do you do when somebody uses God? Like, I've had some people say like, oh, well, I'll just use God because he's free. And I'm like, what?
As an objection?
Yes.
Okay, we could do the objections at the end.
Okay.
Yeah, remind me.
Okay.
That's actually one that I just had to overcome. It was pretty fun.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes I struggle like challenging the whole family aspect, especially for moms.
Yeah.
Right? And so oftentimes I get a lot of moms saying, you know, like I'm just tired of telling my kids I'm too tired, or you know, I'm tired of telling my kids I'm too busy just so I can take a second.
Yeah.
I've been pretty successful with closing some of them, but sometimes I get those women that you just have such a bad feeling that you don't want to like overstep.
Okay. I'm going to ask you one of the next questions then, and then give me that answer. Okay?
Okay. So that same thing is
Yes, just give me that same exact answer. So now we have an understanding, just so you know, I'll always ask that question at the end right there, where would you agree that the way of decision making that's ultimately led you to where you currently are, being afraid of the investment, being afraid of spending more time with yourself because you want to pour back into your family, if you continue that way of decision making, would you agree it's going to be significantly more expensive than any investment you can make within yourself? That's a slight buy-in for them to be like, I can't give an objection at the end anymore, right? And all of their struggles is going to lead me to this next question. So this next question I've started adding into all of my calls. I tested it. I almost did like an A/B test. I did it on 10 calls and I didn't do it on 10 calls. In the 10 calls that I did it on, I believe like 9 out of 10 of them closed. So let's just say the struggle is inconsistency. They have kids and they also want to spend all their money and their time on their kids. I'll just perfectly transition this to you. Okay, so I know that you mentioned one of your biggest struggles has been the fact that you have kids, you want to pour back into them, you know, you're getting married, all of the things. And life just keeps happening and happening and happening. It feels like life is happening to you rather than for you, right? And you're not alone in that. Whenever I get on these calls, I speak with two types of women. There's one woman where they say that life is so busy. They say that they can't pour into themselves. They feel like they're pouring from an empty cup day after day. Like even when they wake up, they're just so exhausted and they don't even enjoy looking in the mirror anymore. And they utilize all of that busyness and all of that exhaustion as a reason to not pour into themselves, to not invest into a coach, and to not find the help that they want to find, right? And nobody would blame them for that. They have kids, they have all of the things that would make it so it would make sense for them to just keep doing that. And so there's another type of woman that I speak with, where they understand that the exact reason that where they are is because of that exhaustion, is because they have kids, is because they want to pour into their family, and they realize that they can't utilize that as a reason to not become the best mom. They utilize that as a reason to actually invest in themselves, because how much easier is it going to be able to give back to your kids and to your husband when you are the fullest version of yourself? And so there's that second type of woman that understands that she can't do it by herself anymore. And if she continues to try to do it by herself, she's going to stay stuck. Out of those two women, which one do you think gets significantly closer to her goals? The one who stays stuck in that way of decision-making, allows the kids to be the reason that she doesn't invest in herself, or the one who pushes past all that discomfort and finds the help that she wants so she doesn't have to do it alone by herself anymore?
The second one pushes past.
Which one do you want to be, though?
The second one.
Why?
I just feel like I have this guilt of, you know, prioritizing my children because they're my everything, but also pouring back into myself.
Yeah, and just so you know, you're not alone at all in that. What's your daughter's name?
Lily.
Lily? Okay. So let's just imagine that Lily came to you. And how old is she? 3. Let's imagine that she came to you and she said, Mom, I'm so exhausted. I'm so tired. I don't love the way that I look. And obviously at 3, they don't really know that, but you get what I'm trying to say. Whoever made them feel that way, whatever reason they're feeling that way, you're going to cheer them up in the best way possible and ensure that instead of feeling like meh, or instead of feeling like, what would you say that your happiness with your body and with your confidence is out of a scale of 10 right now? 4. And they come to you and say it's a 4 out of 10. You're going to throw hands with whoever made them feel that way, correct? Like you're going to do everything in your power to make sure that they are having the best day of their entire existence, correct? Why would you do that?
Because I love her.
Do you love yourself?
Yes.
So why have you been putting up with a 4 out of 10 for the last 2 years then?
I don't know.
I mean, I think you do. Like, what's the reason that you've been putting up with a 4 out of 10 exhaustion, lack of confidence, not being able to pour into your cup?
I have no excuse.
I mean, you've had an excuse, though.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's just, I'm in such a traditional household here again. I'm in such a traditional household that, you know, he takes care of everything and I just have to, you know, man down the house and make sure everyone's good and, you know, happy, healthy and all that stuff. So
I guess, how much longer can you go pouring from an empty cup into filling up the cup for your family?
Not much longer.
How much longer do you want to feel that way, though? Because at the end of this call, you will have a choice to be able to pour back into your cup. But how much longer do you think that you actually could do that?
Probably not much longer at all.
And so if you say that Lily is a 4 out of 10 and you'll do anything in your power to make sure that she's a 10 out of 10, then what are you willing to do to make sure that you're a 10 out of 10 so that way Lily never has to feel this way again?
Pretty much anything.
Right. So you see how you're going to be able to utilize their excuse and their struggle as the exact reason why they need to invest into you. Because then at the end of the call, when they say like, oh, I don't want to invest because that money can go towards Lily, or oh, I don't want to invest because all that time that I'm going to spend at the gym should be going towards Lily and spending time with her, it's all the exact reason why she needs to do it. So when somebody will give me like a partner objection, there's a guy for Beyond Built that signed up, and the entire call he told me that he wanted to sign up for his kids and for his wife. And then he told me that he had to go speak with his wife to make sure that his kids were going to be able to get everything that they wanted if he spent this money on Beyond Built. And then I said, did you hear what you just said to me? This entire call has been about you doing this for your wife and for your kids so you could be the best father and best husband for them. So the fact that they are the reason that you want to do this means they can't be the reason that you don't do this. So what's actually coming up that's causing that hesitancy? And then I got down to his real fear, just like that. That make sense?
Yeah.
Cool.
That's the third part, because that's obviously my brand. Making me your best project, so.
Yeah, exactly. Does that make sense for everybody else though? So these are the parts where we're not going to be able to follow a script. Because if she didn't tell me all of that, I'm not going to ask that question. But, yeah, Julia?
Is there a way to do that with someone who doesn't have kids? I don't work with a lot of moms.
Yeah.
Or anything like that, so it's hard to even have like a realization like that with them if they don't have kids.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You can literally ask, who do you love most in your life? And then what do you think they'll say? Their mom, their husband, their partner, whatever it is. What if that person came to you, their dog? I did this with a cat once. Literally, this person was a cat woman, and I had to do it with her cat. Right? Because cat people are weird. Dog people. So Julia, when somebody says that and you want to bring that conversation up, you can ask, like, that question is going to come after the why now. It's going to come after all of those questions, because that's a pretty uncomfortable conversation, right? I wouldn't want to ask that before I get down to like what their goal is, how long they've been struggling with it for, because that's like opening them up to being like, oh, I can have a conversation with this person. But now that she told me all of this, I'm going to say, who do you love most in your life? I could even ask that. And she's going to say her daughter. If she doesn't have a daughter, she's going to say her partner, her mom, whatever it is. What if that person came to you and told you that they were feeling the exact same way that you're feeling? Do you think that they would allow all of that fear and hesitancy and struggles to hold them back from accomplishing their goals? Or do you think that they would do everything in their power to be able to accomplish this? What do you want to do? Does that make sense?
Would you like ask them like what, like I was watching a sales call the other day, someone was just like, what's your why, like what's your motivation behind wanting to get to, whatever, 30 pounds down?
Mm-hmm.
Could you ask that in that sense and then kind of bridge the gap from that into?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's the cool thing why I'm saying this right now, because we don't want to throw it in anywhere in the script.
Right.
So that's something new, essentially, that a lot of you guys might have not heard from me. The two people analogy, like there's one type of person who allows all those reasons to be held back, and then the other one who utilizes all those reasons to actually push forward. That one, add in every single one of your calls. I'm telling you, yes, it will change your life. Because what that's called is labeling, and you're labeling them as that successful person. So when I go to say, and there's a second type of person, you almost remind me of this type of person, where they are tired of putting up with that reason, as that being the reason that they don't accomplish their goals. And so they do everything in their power to invest in themselves and really get to where they want to go. Which one do you think accomplishes their goals? They're always going to say the second one, right? For asking, who do you love most in your life? And then they tell you like they're feeling a 5 out of 10 and that person feels a 5 out of 10. You could throw that in anywhere if you want to feel like you're getting a little bit deeper in discovery. Okay? Amazing. Any other questions?
Do we get the recording?
Hey, Ryan, can we get the transcript? Yeah. Yeah, we can do the transcript. Carlos.
Just a quick question. You mentioned something when she was saying the why of I just want to feel better in my clothing and we went into the swimsuit and all of that. You mentioned something like I don't go usually 3 levels deep or you go 3 levels deep. I didn't get that part. If you can just.
Yeah. So the next question that I ask will explain this a little bit more. But when I'm asking what has been your biggest struggle, they say inconsistency, lack of accountability, etc. I'm going to ask, and you could word this in any way, where has that cost you mentally, physically, and emotionally? Where have you really noticed it popping up when you're going out to eat with your partner, or when you want to go out to with your friends to the beach? They're going to explain something like that. And the cool thing, like, we're all talking about different prospects right now, but all these prospects are going to have basically the same answers, right? I'm probably going to go like 2 or 3 layers deep, and then after I get that, I'm just going to pull back, because I don't want to like murder them and make them cry right then and there. I want to make them cry in about like 2 or 3 more questions. Cool? So now I have a really good understanding of why they're struggling with this, where it's negatively impacting them. Now the bridge is big enough where I could actually start challenging them. Some of you guys are way too nice on your calls, and when you go to handle objections at the end of the call, they're like, who is this I'm talking with? This Luis that I was just talking with for the last 40 minutes, he didn't challenge me one bit. And now I say I want to go and think about it, and you're not going to let me? Like, I thought we were friends. I don't want to be a friend. Like, I want to challenge them and ask them questions that even their partner of 20 years have never asked them. And then they're going to be like, holy shit, I'm willing to give this guy any amount of money, right? That makes sense? Cool. All right, so now we got all of that. So now let's just go in, Jack. So why now? Like, I know that you've been struggling with this for the last 1.5 years. You've really been trying for the last 2 to 3 months, but why do you feel as if now is the right time to invest into a coach to make it so this progress is going to be significantly faster? Why not 1.5 years ago when you first started struggling? Why not wait another 6 or 12 months and keep trying what you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, in about 6 months or so, I have a trip coming up, so I kind of want to make sure I'm, in shape for that.
I guess why didn't you do this like 6 months ago then, if you knew that that trip was going to come up?
We just planned it a couple weeks ago.
Okay. So it's like a certain life event that's basically making that this is really important at this point, where you don't want to try it on your own anymore. Because if you keep going the route that you're going in the next 6 months, you might not feel like putting that bikini on and feeling like the best version of yourself then, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes complete sense. So this next question is a question that I'll never skip. Okay? This is where we're going to be able to make them cry. All right? Who wants to be emotional for me?
I'm hormonal.
All right. There's a better hormonal. So,
Writing that down.
no, you're good. So, okay, so now I have the why now. This is what I'm going to ask in terms of they've been struggling for the last 1.5 years, okay? So with everything that you just explained to me, amazing goals. We have objective goals of dropping 20 pounds. We have more subjective goals of like feeling confident and feeling like the best version of yourself, right? I love those. But to be honest with you, that's kind of the goal for the last 1.5 years. And you haven't really changed the way of decision making up until this point. And so I have a feeling that there's a deeper reason why you actually want to accomplish this, right? And life is going to throw a bunch of things at your way. Even if you sign up for this program, it's still going to be really hard. Like, just because you have a coach doesn't mean it's some magic pill that's going to make it so you see the progress that you want to see in the next 6 months. Life is going to throw things at you. Your kids are going to get crazy. Kids are going to get sick. Family's going to get sick. You're going to travel. And all of those are usually the things that put you right back to where you started, right? So what's the actual reason why this is so important for you? Like, to become this Dara, to become this individual that even after having kids, even after going through all these struggles, you've been able to step into this version of yourself. What's the reason why behind that?
Well, I've never really, I've always been on my own doing this and trying, and I've never really had someone to hold space for me and support me in the ways that I've needed, and that's why every time life gets hard, I give up on myself, and that's why, am I going off still what he said, the vacation?
Yeah, everything. Whatever you want to do.
And that's why, I fear this vacation. I'm not even going to be present. I'm going to be thinking, can I have this ice cream? I'm going to be thinking, does my husband think I look good in this swimsuit? Do I think I look good in this swimsuit? Are my children embarrassed of me? And I don't want to feel this way ever again.
Absolutely. And I really appreciate you opening up about that as well, because do you know how you just mentioned that it's bigger than yourself? It's for your partner, it's for your amazing kids. And when we have a why that's deeper than ourselves, we're willing to do whatever it takes. When we have a why that's just within ourselves, we're willing to put up with the most bullshit. And we're willing to tell ourselves reasons that we can't actually do it. But it seems as if this is impacting more than just you. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely.
When you say that you want to make sure that your partner loves the way that you look when you throw on that bikini, where have you noticed as of recently or in the last couple of weeks where maybe even just getting dressed in the morning or going out for a date night, like where has that really been popping up?
I hear this often, so I'll say it I don't like my reflection when I get out of the shower in the mirror. I don't even look.
Absolutely. And again, I really appreciate you for opening up about this, because this level of awareness makes it so you're actually willing to make a change. Would you agree?
Yes.
When you say that you don't love the way that you look, though, how does that really impact your relationship with your husband? And I'm sure that he loves you. I'm sure that no matter how much weight you gain or how much you lose, he's still going to say that you're absolutely beautiful and amazing, right?
Yeah.
That's why you probably married him. But where have you really noticed it, where you've had to almost put this mask on and you don't feel like the best version of yourself?
I just don't feel the same confidence because I don't dress the same as I used to on date nights, because I don't think that I'm deserving of wearing those kind of outfits. And also, like, our intimacy has changed in the sense of, you know, having some dim light to no lights, because I don't want to be seen.
Absolutely. And just so you know, everything that you're sharing, that's what a majority of the women struggle with before they join this program. And then in 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, when they actually have the level of accountability that they're looking for, they're willing to have the craziest relationship now, because it feels like when they first got together with their partner, right? Last thing on this. So does this make sense? I'm like 3 layers deep now, right? Like, this is where the tears are going to start flowing. I'm lowering my tonality. I'm going really, really slow, because they're sharing stuff that they don't even share with their therapist, right? So now I understand how it's impacting you. I understand how it's impacting your relationship. You also mentioned that Lily, she might feel a little bit embarrassed when she sees mom at the beach. What do you mean by that?
Well, she made a comment about my belly before, and, you know, 3-year-olds are really fucking honest.
Yeah.
And that hurt.
No, absolutely. I guess when I notice that I'm speaking with moms and they don't really feel the most confident version of themselves, they also don't feel like they're showing up as the best mom. Has that been the case for you as well?
Yeah, I mean, I avoid photos. I'm always on the other side of the camera, or I'll prop her on my lap or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I'll go with Lily's mom. So the real mom. So when you say that you're not necessarily fully present the way that you want to be with Lily, does she deserve that version of you?
Yes, fully
She deserves the version of you that you're fully present with her, correct?
present, yeah.
But I guess every day that you realize that you're not the most present version of yourself with her, where has that been impacting you personally? Because it always comes back to ourselves at the end of the day, right?
I feel like I almost throw more shame around the mom I'm being and just want to isolate, and it almost kind of impacts my relationship with my husband, and, you know, it kind of gets messy waters with that, with my relationship.
Yeah, and so it seems like you have the awareness now that, I know earlier you mentioned that you are confident, but there's also a level of yourself that you know that you're not stepping into the best mom, the best wife, and also the best version of yourself, correct? And so play this out for me then, Luis. Let's just imagine that you do have a level of accountability and support that you haven't had in the last 2 years, or even since you were an athlete in college, right? What do you see actually being different in the next 6 to 12 months compared to the last 2 years that you've really been struggling with this that would make something like this worth it?
Like, you're asking, like, what are the results that will make the next 6 months?
Yeah, like let's just imagine that the next 12 months you have daily accountability, you have a level of support that you've never had before, you have a community of people who are supporting you every single step of the way. Inevitably, logically thinking, you are going to be able to accomplish your goals, yes or no, as long as you're willing to put in the work and meet me there, correct?
Yeah.
What actually looks different in the next 12 months in your personal life, in your relationship, in the relationship with your kids that's actually going to make this worth it compared to how you felt for the last 2 years?
Well, I feel like, especially in my business, I will show up differently because, you know, when I was in college playing and everything, like, the fact that I had to be good in school to be able to play, you know, and I was doing so much more than now. I feel like that level of accountability left my life, and I feel like if I gain it back and I actually have a plan, that will also transition to how I operate my business or my career.
Yeah.
Because again, like now I have something to look for, and I know it's gonna work.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like a level of certainty that the actions that you're going to take are going to make it so the results that you see are going to be worth it, correct?
Yeah.
And like Chad, for you, for example, in terms of you being able to show up as the best version of yourself for your partner, Like, what would that actually do for your relationship as well?
Man, it will really change. I mean,
I was asking Chad.
Should probably start looking at me more like a man and not a boy.
And what would that do for your level of confidence?
I don't know, but that's why I'm here, to figure that out.
Well, if you were just actually like, I'm a huge visionary, right? Like, we have to really be able to shut our eyes and envision what it's going to be like, because once we can do that, then we're going to be able to see what the future is going to look like, and then we're going to be willing to take the uncomfortable action steps that are necessary to actually get there. Would you agree? Like, if we're just consistently stepping into something and we're doing workouts and we're going to the gym 5 days a week and we're tracking our macros, but we don't know what that's for, it's not going to make it worth it. Like, we're going to give up as soon as life gets busy. So let's actually just take a step back and really imagine she doesn't look at you just as a boy anymore, but looks at you as the man that you deserve to be for the household and for your kids and for her. What is that going to do for your confidence?
Well, I'd probably stop postponing proposing.
Absolutely. It sounds like she's been waiting for that too, huh? Absolutely. And so, play this out for me then, Michaela. It sounds as if in the next 6 to 12 months, that's you at the top of the mountain. That's you being able to accomplish all of your goals that you've been wanting to accomplish. And it sounds like even longer than 2 years, right? Like, you've been with your partner for 3 and you still haven't proposed, right? So on the flip side of that though, all of that fear, all of that uncertainty, the ego that you had earlier when you said that you probably could get to where you want to be by yourself, but you knew that that wasn't true. At the end of this call, like, all of that fear is so strong because that's been what's been holding you back for the last 2 years. Would you agree? And honestly, nobody would blame you, because that's what a majority of people fall into, is allowing that fear to stop them from moving forward with something like this. So compared to you getting this level of accountability and the support that we just discussed, what does the next 6 to 12 months look like if you kind of just continue on this cycle that you've been at?
Being honest with myself, probably the same thing I've been doing, because 6 months ago I said I was gonna change, nothing's really changed. A year ago I said I was gonna start something, nothing really happened. I'm usually good at it for about a month and then it kind of just like happens, so.
But I mean, you're already like the most confident that you want to be. So is that a bad thing?
Well, I'm not the most confident that I want to be.
I thought earlier you mentioned you were.
I'm pretty confident, but I mean, I think we both can agree I wouldn't be on this call if I was like the best version of myself already, because what would be the point of trying to do something else?
No, I agree with you for sure. I guess, are you willing to settle for that version of yourself that just stays stuck in the same cycle that you've been stuck in for the last year?
I want to say no, but I feel like something always holds me back.
What do you think usually holds you back?
I feel like in this sense, usually a little bit of, like, will I be able to do it? Will I be able to follow through? And then if I don't follow through, did I just waste money?
Well, I'm personally a believer that all of our beliefs come from our past experiences. That would make sense, right? Like, everything that we've experienced in the past shapes our reality. And the fact that you've never had this level of accountability, this level of support, it would make sense that you haven't been able to accomplish your goals. If you had that level of accountability and that level of support, it would make sense that you'd be able to get significantly closer to your goals. I'm not saying 100%, because the only thing that's 100% in life are death and taxes. But even 70 or 80% closer to your goals, it would make sense that if you had the level of accountability, you wouldn't be afraid of failing anymore, right?
Yep.
And so are you willing to settle for that version of yourself, to say no to that level of accountability and support, if you know that at the end of this call you will be able to get that level of support? You just have to overcome that fear of failure.
Am I willing to settle?
Are you willing to settle to repeat the same cycle that you've been in for the last year?
No.
You could be though, right? And ultimately, and I know you got on this call for me to coach you, you have been willing to settle for that version of yourself, right? And I say that out of respect, but why aren't you willing to settle for that version of yourself anymore?
I feel like I'm just starting to get frustrated with myself, because I don't know, I guess I never really thought about it. It's just kind of like life just goes by and you don't realize how much time has passed until I'm now on this call.
Yeah.
Reflecting like the past 3 years to you.
Yeah.
I've gotten nowhere in the past 3 years, so.
Yeah, and again, that awareness is the reason that I do these calls, right? Because if I just told you in the earlier stages that this program is $20,000, but then we didn't have that awareness of how this has really been impacting you, you just block me and never talk to me again, right? But now that you have that awareness that staying stuck in the same cycle is going to cost you significantly more than any change that you can make, especially investing in a coach, it seems like we've been able to come to that conclusion together, correct?
Yeah.
Amazing. Last question for you though, whose responsibility is it for you to actually get to the top of this mountain and not stay stuck in that cycle that you've been in?
Only mine.
Gotcha. And again, the reason I ask is because you could blame your dog, your cat, your husband, your kids, but the fact that you do have that awareness that it is your responsibility and you're willing to take radical responsibility for the decisions you make, that means that I will be able to help you if you want my help, okay? Now this is one last thing that I've been adding into every single call. Let's just say, Jack, have you ever, this is after all of those questions, just so you know, have you ever set your alarm for 4 a.m.?
Yeah,
Have you ever snoozed that alarm?
definitely.
When's the last time?
A couple weeks ago.
Gotcha. Yeah, same. I did it the other day, right? And so the reason I'm asking this is because when you go to set that alarm, you're doing it with the intention that you're going to have integrity and do what you say you're going to do, right? But when the alarm goes off, there's a side of your brain that is like, this bed is so comfortable. If you have a dog or a wife or partner like we have here, you're snuggling them and you don't want to get up. Why do you think your brain is telling you to not get up?
It's comfortable.
And what does comfort usually lead to?
No change.
And has there also been a time where you set your alarm for 4 a.m. and then you actually did wake up from it? There's the other side of that brain that says, I set my alarm, I'm going to wake up from the first moment that it goes off. And then how did that day go when you actually got up and you did what you said you were going to do?
It was a good day.
But you had to overcome a lot of discomfort, right? Like you had to get out of bed, splash some water on your face, brush your teeth, and get ready. So why'd you still do it?
Because I knew I was supposed to.
And so there's always two sides of your brain when you're going to make a decision. The one side where it's so comfortable, it's so safe, but do we grow from a place of comfort or from a place of discomfort?
Discomfort.
Why do you say that?
Because if I stay comfortable, I'm not going to do anything different or make a change.
Absolutely. And so when we go to make an investment in ourselves and a change in the way that we've been making decisions, do you believe that's going to be comfortable or uncomfortable?
Probably a little uncomfortable.
A little? Or very?
Probably very uncomfortable.
Right, I agree with you. And so when that time comes at the end of this call and all of those fears and all those uncertainties and all that discomfort is coming up trying to stop you, what are you going to tell it?
I guess we'll have to see.
What do you think that the future version of yourself that's finally accomplished everything and that gets up on the first alarm does? Do you think that they allow the fear to win, or do you think that they get out of bed no matter how uncomfortable it is?
Get out of bed no matter how comfortable it is.
Do you want to step into that version of yourself every single day, or do you want to allow that discomfort to win and allow you to stay stuck in bed?
I want to step into that version of myself.
Absolutely. And so I always add that at the end now because it's a worldview perspective that makes it so everybody's set their alarm for 4 a.m. and hasn't woken up to it. And they know it's because they're extremely comfortable and safe inside that bed. And that's the side of the brain that's going to pop up as soon as you go to tell them it's $6,000 for your program, right? And so when they go into fight or flight, you're like, whoa, this is exactly what you just told me was going to happen. And then you're able to help them overcome it a little bit easier. Cool? All right, that's the entire discovery. Chad, what do we got on time? Does anybody have any questions about the discovery?
Is that right before the pitch?
Mm-hmm.
Like right before? So after you cover everything?
Yeah, because you want to do it right before the pitch because if you don't, then, I mean, you don't have to, of course, like anything, but if you don't ask that before the pitch, it's not really going to land because then when we go to pitch and then we price drop, they don't go into fight or flight as much. Like as soon as they go into fight or flight and they say they have to,
Is that what's happening? They're going into fight or flight?
oh yeah, because you're telling them to make a different decision that they've been making and also making an investment. Maybe they've already done it in the past and they got burnt, or they've never done it before and they're extremely scared, right? Like this lady that we're talking about right now, she's never made a decision like this for herself in the past. She's just always tried things on her own, right? And she's always poured into her kids' cups, etc. Right? Kos?
Do you ever ask in that process if they hired a coach before?
Oh yeah,
They invest in themselves before?
absolutely. In the what are you doing, or what have you done to be able to accomplish that? They'll tell you that they hired a coach.
My question is because if
Yep.
Now, if they never made an investment on a coach, like this is gonna be their first time, would you still go on, okay, when you're gonna make an investment, this is gonna feel comfortable or uncomfortable?
Yeah, you still ask that because people still know like that making some sort of decision, or you could even frame it in terms of like changing the way that you've been making decisions. Is that going to be comfortable or uncomfortable?
Yeah.
That's always going to be uncomfortable because our brain is safe in the known, which is the way that we've been doing things. And so when we could change the way that we're doing things, it's going to be really uncomfortable. And that's where change always comes from, is that level of discomfort, right? Okay. Anybody have any other questions about discovery? We could go into objection handling real quick, and then I'll stop you. No, go ahead.
One question that I recently added in is, are you like shopping around? So I do like to ask that question. Luckily, the one girl, she didn't want to start till September. She's finishing her coach.
Mhm.
I was able to get her to pay, which was crazy.
She paid in full?
Till September. Yeah, they start September.
Wow.
But I'm really nervous for the next one. So how would you kind of handle if they say, yeah, well, I'm just shopping around right now, like I'm just not ready to make something. Would you even pitch on that call or?
Yeah, absolutely. When would they tell that to you though, in your scenario?
It's like middle. Usually I kind of bring it into the middle of my discovery.
Okay, beautiful. So let's just say that you asked that in the middle of discovery. I would ask, when you say that you're going to shop around, what are you looking for to make the most aligned decision for yourself? Like what would make it an absolute no-brainer for you to not have to shop around anymore and to make a decision so that way you can go ahead and fast forward this process?
Okay.
But play devil's advocate, they might say, I don't know.
That's what
Okay,
I'm saying.
yeah.
She did, and then
Yes, so they're going to say, I don't know. So would it be fair to say that what you're looking for is a level of certainty and clarity that the decision that you're going to make is going to be the right decision? Yes or no?
Yes.
Does that certainty and clarity that you're looking for come from gathering more and more and more information? Or does more and more information usually mean more and more information overload, and it doesn't necessarily mean implementation?
Okay.
And so there's going to be two types of people. There's going to be one that wants to search around for 5 or 6 different coaches, and then they're 7 weeks down into the process and they still haven't made a decision. Or the person who gets on a call, and the first call that they get on 8 weeks ago, they took action. Now they're 8 weeks further in their progress, and they started to gain clarity as to whether or not it was the right decision. Okay? So you want to let them know that there's 2 types of people, and if they continue to delay that type of decision making or continue to make decisions that way, that's the way that most people make, that's the way that the least successful people make decisions, is by consistently looking for more and more information.
Okay.
Cool?
Is there a reason why you start with the goal first?
Yeah, because I want to basically, like those first 3 questions that I ask, it's really just to get like a deeper understanding of what their goal is, where they are, how long they've been struggling with it for. But most coaches, that's where they stop, you know? Like they'll just ask that and then they'll go straight into their pitch. They're like, okay, cool, it sounds like I can help you. So they're gonna be like, oh, okay, this is an easy conversation, like I'm flowing with it. It starts to open them up a little bit more. And then as soon as I ask, like, what are you really struggling with? Where have you seen that showing up in your relationship? Where is that impacting you as a mom? They're like blown away because nobody else has ever asked them those questions. Like our setter for Beyond Built got on a call with a fitness coach that's like based in Bali, and the guy literally asked him 3 questions. Our setter said, I have to think about it. He goes, okay, you go ahead and think about it. Let me know if you want to make the decision. Like that's literally the competition that you guys have when you're getting on calls, just so you know. And this guy's making like 30 or 40K a month, right? Not challenging anybody, not digging deep in the discovery. He's just getting on a lot of calls. So that's why he's able to make that amount. But if I have like 5 or 10 calls a week, I want to make them, and again, that took like, I don't know, probably 40 minutes. It's really going to take you like 20 on a call. I was going around to different people, getting different answers and explaining things, you know? You want to finish that discovery portion up within 25 minutes, I would say. Because then you're going to pitch, and then you're probably going to get some objections if they want to give you objections, or they're just going to pay in full, which is amazing as well, right? Amazing. Tara?
Do you do any type of pre-qualifying, just simply financial, like if they maybe brought it up multiple times, whenever you said investment, they were kind of like, well, it depends on how much, or you got an inclination that they're like in between jobs or something, do you do pre-qualifying?
Yeah, absolutely. So when, how I was asking, like, how many days a week are you going out to eat? I would also ask in the beginning, like, hey, honestly, a way that you can get this done is first question, where are you calling in from? And then being like, okay, you working from home today? You at work? Like, what are you doing? And then they're going to tell you what they do for work. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I'm going to be like, oh, okay, this probably isn't going to go my way. You know, or, oh, I'm in between jobs. I don't have a job right now. I'm probably not going to take the rest of the call, right? If they are like, I work at home in cybersecurity, I'm like, okay, they got some money, or banking, or whatever it is. I have an understanding that they have some level of income now, right? And then I'm sure your next question is like, what if they don't have the money? Okay, so what I'll usually do in this case, I just had this conversation yesterday for a WWA girl. She gets on and she's like cracked out of her mind. She's like talking so fast. And I'm like, can we calm down for a second? She's like, I just lost my previous job and I want to, and I'm fucking, and I was like, I don't even understand what you're saying right now. I literally got 10 minutes into the call and I was like, I don't even know what's going on right now, to be honest with you. And she's like, what do you mean? I was like, you just told me like your entire life story and I haven't even been able to ask you a question. I was like, so you're nannying and you're making $5K a month from that? And she's like, no, I just got fired from my previous job. I've spent all of my savings and I don't have any income right now, and hopefully I'll start as a nanny next week. And I was like, okay, so just to make sure that I could serve you, coaching comes with some level of investment. I don't know the exact amount just yet because I don't know exactly which program is going to be best for you, but it's going to be some level of investment. With you being in between jobs, with you being a stay-at-home mom, with you blah, 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 how were you planning on moving forward with a level of investment if we were in alignment with what we want to go over today? Then at that point, oh, I wasn't planning on making a decision today. Were you not planning on making a decision today because you don't have any of the money, or you just want to make sure that you're making the best decision for yourself? I don't have any of the money. Okay, in that case, I'm not going to continue that conversation. So I ended that call after like 12 minutes, right? So you don't want to just like DQ right away. I got on a call with another girl yesterday. She's like, I have to rob the bank in order to get resourceful. And then she gets on the call and puts $1,000 down. So some people will just say that for fear.
Like on the app she said that, or in the DM?
In the DMs. And then we were like, okay, but if we're able to like get resourceful and like find a way to like really make this work, is it a conversation you'd at least be open to having? And she's like, yeah, I'd be open to it, but just so you know, like I got burnt by a lot of previous coaches. Boom. So she just told me that she does have the money. She's just been burnt in the past. So she's a little bit skeptical. So you want to make sure that you don't DQ them right away. If they then say like, no, there's absolutely no way, I'm in between jobs, I'm making $1,000 a month right now, I'm not going to get them on a call. Right? Cool. All right. Let's go over some objections then.
I have an objection.
Okay. The God one?
I've had that one before, but the one I had last night was, what did she say? She said that she doesn't have any money. She said that her dad had to buy her groceries, and then she would have to start this in November.
So this is the point where I don't want you guys to like waste your energy and waste your time just because you got somebody on a call. If you've gone through all of the financial resources, you've had a clear understanding that they want to do the program, but they are like literally showing you their bank account and they have negative $2, I'm not going to try to get them to sign up for a program.
But it was so weird because I had already had a call with her before, and she mentioned that she was working with a chiropractor.
Okay.
And I guess this month was just a bad month for her, and now she's like doesn't have enough money for the rest of the month.
Yeah, exactly. So if they don't have, like, if they're living paycheck to paycheck, they don't have any of the finances, they are so down bad that they can't even afford groceries, I'm not going to even try to get them to sign up. Because, like, how are they?
I know that though. I just figured from our first conversation that she.
How do you know that?
No, I said I didn't even know.
Oh,
that.
yeah. Yeah, and again, you like when I'm asking those questions of like how many days a week you're eating out or what do you do for work or whatever it is, I'm going to start to understand that sooner in the discovery rather than later. But if some people are really good at lying about it, and then also some people will have like a ton of credit or maybe they just have a shit ton of savings. Like I've talked to people that have been in between jobs, but then they had like $400,000 in the stock market and they were willing to pull $7K out to be able to do a program. So you don't want to assume, but there's questions that you can ask to make it so it's a lot easier at the end of the call, right? So let's do this. Write this down. This is, I'm going to show you the 7 steps for handling an objection, and we'll just do it for like 10 or 15 more minutes, then I can answer any questions that you guys got, okay? So first step is what we're going to call a belief check, okay? This is basically where before you go and think about it or before you want to speak about it with your spouse, whatever it is, do you believe that everything that we went over today actually can get you to your goals? Again, I'll say this slower when we're actually going to the objection. We always want a yes for that, and then we do something called a double buy-in. So what about it specifically gives you that belief that it's actually going to work for you, okay? From there, we're going to clarify where their thinking about it is actually coming from. So something like that would be when you say that you want to go and think about it, what's actually coming up that's causing that hesitancy, just to make sure I could give you all the information so you can go and think about it and make the most aligned decision, okay? So we're still not telling them what do you have to think about, or we're not like trying to handle their objection right away. We're just letting them know that we just want to give them the most amount of information possible. Number 3 is normalizing it. So it's completely normal that you want to go and think about it, especially like this is the first time that you've done something like this. It's a pretty big decision. That's how most people think, is that they want to think about it before they go ahead and make that decision, so I get it. When you go to ask about what they want to think about, there's always 4 levels of uncertainty though. So fear of themselves. I think that's kind of what we were going over earlier, where like they have never really done it or have been able to accomplish it. Fear of themselves, fear of the program. They don't believe that the program is going to work for whatever reason. We didn't pitch good enough, whatever it is. Fear of the finances, so they don't have any of the money, or they're kind of scared to invest in themselves because they want to spend it on their kids or whatever it is. And then fear of past experiences. Those are going to be like the 4 main objections that you will get. Spouse doesn't count because spouse is a smokescreen. Think about it, doesn't count. I need to check my budget, doesn't count. I need to check my finances, doesn't count. None of those count because those are all smokescreens, all right? Which we'll be able to get over. I need to think about it with God, doesn't count. They were praying together? That's amazing. Really? And then after that, we're always going to do a perspective shift, okay? So this is where most people get tripped up. If you don't perspective shift them, they're not going to be able to get out of their way of decision making. So let's just say a perspective shift for somebody who says that they want to think about it because they got burnt in the past. This lady is married. Let's just call this lady, I don't know. Karen? Oh gosh, all right. We'll do a Karen. Karen she's married, she's been in previous relationships. That's like a majority of people who I speak with anyways. The perspective shift that I'll use for this one is, you're currently happily married. Before you got married, did you have any other relationships? Yes. I'm assuming you're no longer with that individual because it didn't work out. Whether it was good, bad, or ugly, you learned exactly what you wanted and exactly what you didn't want. But I guess what would have happened if you allowed that past experience with that person to stop you from finding your husband? Where would you be today? Not happily married, not have kids, etc. And I'm not asking you to marry me, but what happens if you allow the fact that you got burnt in the past to stop you from moving forward with something like this?
It worked for me.
It works every time.
Yeah, it works well.
Yeah. Does that make sense? So that's a perspective shift. There's a bunch. We'll go over whatever objection you guys want to give me. Okay? And then from there, after we perspective shift, we'll normalize it again. By the way, it's completely normal the way that you're feeling. So would it be really fair to say that what you're feeling is a level of uncertainty that's popping up right now that's causing this hesitation? So it's not the fact that you have to think about it. It's not the fact that you got burnt in the past. It's the fact that you want to make sure that you're making the most certain and aligned decision for yourself. Once we get all of that, then we'll go into the fear bridge. And then I'll do the fear bridge for you guys. I don't have to explain that right now. And then after the fear bridge, there's 3 binary questions. Okay, so to finish the close off, we'll ask, do you believe in yourself to accomplish this? Do you believe in us to be able to get you there? And then do you believe that your kids, your family, everybody that we discussed during that discovery deserve you to be the best version of yourself? If all of those answers are yes, and you let them know that they have to make a decision from the future version of themselves, like I was talking about with Jack, and then they still say no, that's when I'm just going to burn them. Because like, who's able to say no to that? You know? And people do say no. And then they usually won't come back. If they're still like, no, I'm still going to go think about it, then at that point, I'm just going to burn them. Okay? All right, I'm not going to pick on a bunch of you guys for this. Who wants to role play with me? We'll just do one role play for the objections. Julia? Julia loves role play with me. Amazing. Okay, cool. So you're going to be difficult?
No, you really need.
You were difficult earlier, so you could be a little bit difficult.
I feel like my friends are all difficult.
Okay, no, that's fine. So,
Probably need to be a better discovery.
yeah, no, absolutely. Like when you dig that deep in discovery, you challenge the shit out of them, so they're expecting this challenge a little bit at the end when they're going to tell you that, okay? So let's just do, you guys said finances always. Let's just do finances. I think that's the easiest one. Okay, check your finances. And we could do spouse as well if we want to do like another round of spouse. But spouse is usually going to come down to finances anyways, like Michaela said. So let's just do, Julia, let's just do finances, okay? So, all right, Julia, with everything that we just discussed, do you have any concern? And I didn't price drop yet. This is like after you pitch. I always ask, do you have any concerns as to why this would not get you to your goals in the next 12 months? No? All good? So last thing that we have to go over is the total investment then. Yeah? Big and scary investment, right? Absolutely. So we can also do something called a price anchor, For like B2B, I won't really do a price anchor anymore. If it's somebody who is just like a athlete or they've maybe not been on a lot of discussions like this, I'll just be like a fast action incentive. Okay, so we'll just do that today for this as well. So the program is usually $8,000, Julia, for the entire 12 months. What we do on this call is if you make the decision, I like to reward people who take fast action. So instead of it being 8K, it goes all the way down to 5K if you make the decision on the call for the entire 12 months. A lot of money? Absolutely. A lot of money compared to what? A lot compared. A lot compared to what though? I mean, it's a lot of money compared to like your groceries, compared to your rent, compared to living, compared to. I mean, we could break it up however you want, but before we even do go ahead and break it up, I guess where's your head at with this decision? Like, is this something that you want to move forward with, or where's your head at?
Yeah, I mean, I would just like have to look at like my budget and see, you know, if this could fit into that, like monthly or like how you guys do it.
Gotcha. Before we go over that, are you asking because you don't have the full amount, or are you asking because we just have to break it up monthly? And if we could break it up monthly, we can move forward with it today.
I mean, like I said, I'd have to look at my budget to like fully understand how we can make it work.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay, no, that makes complete sense, completely normal. Before you go and look at your budget, with everything that I just explained in terms of those 3 pillars, the accountability, the support, do you believe that that's actually going to get you down those 20 pounds, feeling like the most confident version of Julia, feeling like the best version of yourself in the next 12 months, yes or no?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, I mean, you sound relatively certain that it will. What about it specifically was like the key to the castle for you, just to make sure that I could actually help?
Yeah, I think just the accountability piece and like having the structure so that I can just like show up and just know that like what you're gonna give me is gonna give me a result.
I love that. I guess what would that do for you personally to like finally have that accountability and that structure that you've been missing?
Well, I mean, hopefully with anything in body.
I mean, that's the only way I would want you to do it. But like, would it make sense? It doesn't have to be hopefully, like logically thinking, if you have that support and you're able to execute on it, you're going to be able to get that body that you're looking for, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. And so when you say that this is a lot of money, what are you actually comparing it to? If you were to just like take a step back and say that this is a big decision, like what are you comparing it to?
I mean, I guess like I've done like a lot of like F45 and like group fitness classes. So like when I think about like $5,000 versus like my $175 membership to F45, that's a bigger investment.
Yeah, that makes sense. And you know, something funny that I always like to share is $5,000 might seem like a lot. It's similar to if you go to a steak dinner, right? And that steak dinner is $5,000. It better be the best steak dinner that you've ever had. It probably still wouldn't even be worth it, right? But instead of a steak dinner, let's say that you look outside and you see a Ferrari that's listed for $150,000 and you could get it today for $5,000. You're gonna do everything in your power to gather $5,000 because you're gonna be able to flip it for $150K, correct?
Yeah, unless it's broken.
Right, but it's not broken. It's perfectly fine. Like as soon as you take the 5K, you can flip it for 150. You would do everything in your power to be able to do so, correct?
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Because that's a great deal.
Absolutely. And we're not talking about a Ferrari. I guess what we're talking about is your level of confidence, the way that you're able to show up for your family, honestly, you being the best version that you've ever been in your entire life, especially considering the fact that you have a 3-year-old daughter now. And so does the price tag really matter if at the end of the day you get everything that you've ever wanted and become the best version of yourself? Because let me ask you this, how valuable would it be for you to have the accountability, to have the structure, to have the support, to not have to worry about going to group classes anymore and to fall off every other weekend? Like how valuable would that be for you to actually accomplish?
I mean, very valuable. I mean, that's what I've done my entire life with structure. And
Yeah.
having a coach.
What price tag would you put on that?
Pardon?
What price tag would you put on that?
I guess you can't put a price on.
It's invaluable. Yeah, absolutely invaluable, right?
Yeah.
And so this might seem expensive. And I think that we can both agree that at the end of the day, if we're able to make an investment and we get everything out of it that we've ever imagined, it's worth it to find a way to get resourceful for it. And
Yeah, for sure. I just want to look at my budget to like.
which again, completely fine. You can absolutely go and do that. It's not a big deal at all. But before you go and do that, I just want to ask you, since this seems expensive and since that's causing a level of hesitancy, what I'm curious about is how expensive has it been for you to feel the way that you've been feeling?
Yeah, that's a good point. Like mentally exhausting and expensive of like all the overwhelm, all the information out there of like do this, do that, do this. It's like I don't really know what is right for me or my body.
Yeah. So I guess what's more expensive for you to continue feeling the way that you felt for the last 2 years for another 3 months, 6 months, 12 months? Or is it more expensive for you to find a way to get resourceful and make a decision that's going to better not only yourself, but your entire family? And I know, you could say that you're not going to wait another 3 months. You just need to look at your budget for another day. But that same hesitancy that's holding you back right now is the same hesitancy that's ultimately been holding you back for the last 6 to 12 months. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Which is just a level of uncertainty and a little bit of fear that you're making the wrong decision. But let me ask you this. If I gave you a duffel bag of $5,000, would you take it and do the program, or would you go on a cruise to the Bahamas? Why would you do it? Because even if it was free, you'd still have to be held accountable. You'd still have to get out of your own way. You'd have to drop the ego and the shield. You'd have to start feeling like that baddest version of yourself in the baddest body, in the banging body, right? So even if it was free, you'd still have to do all of that, which is extremely uncomfortable and extremely scary. So why would you do it?
Because it would teach me everything I need to know within my time, so it would just be a value of like right then and there, like I would be able to learn and have the accountability and structure forever.
Absolutely. And I guess what would that do for your personal relationships?
I feel great in my body. I wouldn't like hide in photos. I would just feel like really confident.
Absolutely. Do you believe that you deserve that version of yourself?
Oh yeah.
Do you believe that your daughter deserves that version of yourself? I guess let's just say that you do allow this hesitancy towards the finances, the budget, the fear of really committing to hold you back though. And it's not going to just hold you back for a day or a night. As soon as you get off this call without making a decision, it's going to be all that fear and all that hesitancy that we were talking about earlier. It's going to be so much stronger because you allowed it to win again. So let's just imagine that you do allow it to win. Where do you see yourself being in another 3, 6, 12 months?
Hopefully not in a worse place.
Well, what do you actually think is going to happen though if you don't have the tools that you need to be able to get out of the cycle that you've been in?
Probably just continue to feel uncomfortable in my body and like pick apart my clothes and just not feel confident.
And yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it sounds like what you're feeling is a level of uncertainty because of the fact that you've really never done this before at this level. Like you said, you've always done group coaching or you had a coach in college. So you've really never had this level of accountability. So it's probably pretty scary to do something that you've never done before, knowing that it's going to work out or it's not going to work out. Would that be fair?
I wouldn't say scary. Like I'm confident that if I like were to build a program like that would be results. I just need that structure.
Absolutely. But for you wanting to go and discuss the budget when it's really not the budget, it's usually because there's a level of uncertainty that's popping up inside your head right now, right?
I guess uncertainty in the sense of financial.
Right, because you're not sure if it's actually going to be worth it because you've never done anything like this in the past.
Yeah.
That would only make sense, right?
Right.
Because like if you knew that for 100% certainty this was actually going to work, would you go ahead and move forward with it, or would you still hesitate?
No, I would move forward with it.
Right. And so there's a level of hesitancy and fear popping up because you've never done anything like this before. But let me ask you something. When is the last time you've done something that you were unsure of, but you still did it anyways because you didn't have any other choice?
Like last month.
What was it? Well, in this case, this person's married, right? So let's just go with the marriage, because a majority, like a lot of you guys are speaking to married women, right? Yeah. So let's just say married. Yeah. So let's just go with the marriage, right? In terms of the marriage that you're in, were you 100% certain that it was going to work out in the first place when you guys first got together?
Yeah.
You were 100% certain?
What?
That you were 100% certain that the marriage was when you first got together?
No.
What do you think the difference is between successful relationships, successful marriages, and the least successful ones? You put in work, you trust each other, and absolutely, even through all the uncertainty, even through all the discomfort, you still sacrifice and you still show up for each other, right? And so you were still willing to do that, and that's why you're married and have that 3-year-old Lily, right? Your little Lily. And so in terms of the fact that you've been able to prove to yourself that you're willing to do something even when you're not 100% certain that it's going to work out, why are you treating your own health, your own mental well-being, your own confidence any different in this scenario?
I have no idea.
No, don't give it to me that easily. Let's just go through the uncertainty bridge real quick. It's because you're just not sure that it's going to work out. Would it be fair to say?
Right, yeah.
But do you mind if I share something around what I've seen uncertainty do? So uncertainty and fear do one of two things. Number one, it's so strong, nobody would blame you for allowing the uncertainty and fear to hold you back because it's held you back for this long. And so when you go to take a leap of faith within yourself, it says, what do you think you're doing? You're crazy for trying this. Like, why would you ever try to get out of your comfort zone and do something that's uncomfortable? And that's usually the case that wins, right? And then there's a second scenario of fear. It's the one where you know that stepping into this discomfort is the exact way that you're going to grow and become this woman that you deserve to become, right? And so instead of allowing the fear to hold you back, you say, do you see what I've been able to overcome? Do you see what I've been able to achieve? And you turn around and you grab it by its shirt, and then you see me across the bridge as well. And I've been there. All of the women that are inside this program have been there. And we're going to be there for you every single step of the way. So instead of allowing the fear to hold you back, we grab you by the hand and we sprint across that bridge so we could finally start seeing the progress that you deserve to see, not only for yourself, but for your daughter and your husband. Out of those two versions of yourself, which one do you believe starts to accomplish their goals? The one that gets held back by the fear or the one who pushes towards it?
We're sprinting across the bridge.
Sprinting, right? But what happens if you don't? Because you absolutely could allow that fear to hold you back the way that it's trying to right now.
I mean, I could just continue to keep you in the same loop of what I've been dealing with since college.
Absolutely. Do you believe in yourself to accomplish this? I know I asked you this earlier.
Yeah.
Do you believe that this program is going to be that structure and support that you've been missing? Do you believe that your daughter Lily, your husband, everybody around you deserves you to be the best version of yourself, yes or no? If all of those answers are yes, and you also know that you don't want to allow that fear to hold you back anymore across that bridge, let's just imagine that future version of yourself, the one that doesn't hit the snooze button anymore when 4 a.m. alarm clock comes around, and she's able to sit on your shoulder, and she whispers one word of advice. What do you think that word of advice would be? And I have a feeling it's not going to say, allow the fear to hold you back anymore, but what do you think it would say? But what do you want to do? So that would split it up. Yeah, and then we could also talk about the finances, like if it genuinely was financial, but sometimes you'll get all the way down to that and be like, no, here's my credit card, I could pay the whole thing in full. So if it was genuinely financial and they were just afraid, you don't ever want to go for like a down payment or the credit card or anything until you go through that entire bridge. But I did want to get a level of an understanding that she had some of the money, which like she mentioned sooner or later, right? If I go through like the financial buckets, like number one, you have the full investment, you're just uncertain. Number two, you have some of it, we just have to break it up, but you're still uncertain. Or number three, you don't have any of it and we have to go rob a bank and there's absolutely no way that we could do this. And they say number three, then I could also bring up, like you just told me that you were eating out 10 times a week and you're spending $500 a month on that. And then we could kind of start backtracking that way. I just didn't do that just so we could kind of go through it faster. Does that make sense for the financial one? Financial one should be the easiest one to go
Do you
through.
do the buckets like, because I feel like in the framework, it's pretty like, you ask about the program, you get certainty on the program, and then you ask the financial buckets?
You would want to ask the financial buckets after the duffel bag question usually. Yeah, I just didn't for you just because, let's just say like earlier on in the call, you told me that, like, let's just say that you told me that you had a pretty good job and like you were making pretty decent money. Cool?
Sorry.
Chad was walking behind you.
Oh, yeah.
He was distracting me too. No, let's just say like earlier on in the discovery, you told me that you had a decent job or whatever it was, then I'm going to have an understanding that you have some of the money so you don't have to ask the buckets.
Okay.
And I know that the fear was coming up from the past experience or from the fact that you've never done anything for before, and it wasn't the fact that you didn't have any of the money, you know?
Yeah.
So people would just say that they want to speak with, or talk about their budget or speak with their accountant or whatever it is just because it's fear. It never is going to hurt to ask those financial buckets though, just so you guys know. Cool. All right, that was a lot of talking. Was that helpful? Live session? Still do the transcript? What'd you say, Michaela? It wasn't? No. You guys want to do like Q&A, ask me any questions?
I have two questions. One, I've tried this a couple times. I haven't done enough to know like if it's good or not, so I just have would like your opinion. And it's on this certainty part, right? It's when you're objection handling. And I've asked like, okay, if you were to guarantee, if I were to give you, I don't know, this juice, and if you drink this juice, tomorrow morning you will wake up as this version of yourself in this body, and it's, 3K, would you do it? Would you, and sometimes that has been like a good reframing of, okay, so it must just be that you don't believe that you're gonna get there in a sense. Do you think that's a good?
Yeah, that's completely fine. Yeah, because that's why I asked Julia. I was like, if you had 100% certainty that this was going to work out, would you be willing to move forward with it today?
Right.
That's why I actually didn't ask her. I remember I asked her that question. That's why I didn't ask her the financial buckets, because that means that she has the money.
Right.
You know, if at that point she's like, no, I just genuinely don't have the money, then I'm going to have to like dig into like the resourcefulness and et cetera. Right. But yeah, that's completely fine. I kind of like that one, because then if they tell you, well, duh, like that's what the answer is going to be. And it's like, so there has to be some level of limiting belief that you're not going to be able to accomplish this.
Right.
Right. And then you could dive into their uncertainty. But the uncertainty is always going to come from those 4 buckets,
Yep.
just so you know. So you always want to ask about those 4 buckets, because then they're going to tell you past experience, whatever.
Yep.
One thing that I've learned is any calls that go past 60 minutes for me, don't close. So I frame my calls in a way to like get past my discovery in 25 minutes, and then pitch within 5 minutes, and then objection handle, or they're just going to give me their card. The people who just pay in full, like I remember I talked to Lizzie, she's like, here's my credit card, right, for Beyond Bill. I was like, great, that call like took 32 minutes. I want to make all my calls that way. Yeah, I think it might have been like 16 minutes. Yeah, she's like, don't even ask me any questions, here's my credit card immediately, right? No, that was, yeah, honestly, whoever I talked to. But again, a majority of people, if they're colder ad leads or they've been in your audience for a while and they're still afraid, you want to give them that time. The reason is because once they give you an objection, you have a finite amount of time to be able to handle it. So you see how it was like trying to get down and like almost like I'm walking this wire to get all the way down as fast as possible to the uncertainty. So let's just say you have anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes. After that, they're going to be fucking burnt. And you're not going to be able to keep asking them questions, or else they're just going to be exhausted. They're going to be like, just let me off this call, please. And that's when people are going to hang up. They're still taking an hour no matter what. Which again, that could possibly be like from the discovery aspect, you know, from just going too deep in the discovery, but you're also closing a decent rate. So if you're closing a decent rate and you realize that discovery is, like you're closing at 60%, 65? Yeah. So if you're realizing that your discovery is helping you dig deeper and build a personal connection with them, then fuck it, just keep doing it. Like don't fix it.
Where I'm spending most of my time that maybe I pay to spend that much time on, because some calls it's like I'm pitching the price at 40 minutes and sometimes it's like 60 and I'm like,
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that could also be from allowing them to talk too much. So, you know, like all the call reviews that we've done, I want to make sure that I'm cutting them off as soon as I get the answer that I need. Because if I let them ramble on for that long, I'm going to get to minute 34 and be at like the 3rd question. And I'm like, fuck, I have to skip all these questions now to just go into the pitch. It's not going to close. For sure. That's actually, I just did a call review with one of my one-on-one students, and I watched it, and she asked her what she was looking to accomplish for 16 minutes. Like when we just did that, I just got the what are you looking to accomplish in 2 minutes.
So at the top, the first certificate, what are you looking to accomplish in the next 12 months?
Yeah.
I want to lose 20 pounds. Like, just go to the next question.
No, because you want that objective goal, but you also want a subjective goal. So when you say you want to drop 20 pounds, what's going to come from that 20 pounds? Confidence, feeling good in your bikini, et cetera. So they're going to start opening up a little bit. Yeah, clarify that. And then once you clarify that, then you're good, because I want to start digging once they tell me what they've been struggling with, where it's been costing them mentally, physically, and emotionally. That's where I want to spend a majority of my time. Right?
yeah, so you don't have to worry you don't have to worry so much about getting like a ton of clarity on that. I mean,
No, because in reality, like a majority of people who are getting on a fitness call, it's always going to be for the same thing: confidence, certainty that it's going to get them to where they want to go. They want to drop 15, 20 pounds, get back to their prepartum, right? They're always going to be around the same. Honestly, when I ask those questions, sometimes I'm just blanking out. I don't even listen to what they say. I don't even take notes on my calls anymore, because they're all the same answers, right? Once they start,
pitching though, because aren't we supposed to be like basically tying it back to what they want?
I pitch based off of their why and what it's been costing them. I don't really pitch based off of like their basic goals. Their basic goals aren't enough of a reason for them to drop 6K. If it was, then they wouldn't be stuck where they are. So their basic goals have been a goal for 3, 5, 10 years, and they haven't been able to accomplish them. The real reason they're on the call is what it's been costing them mentally, physically, emotionally, and where it's been showing up in their personal life. When you get that and how it's impacting their relationship, their kids, etc., that's their why. That's what you need to bring back to the pitch. Cool? Anybody else have any questions?
Sorry, I have one more.
No, don't apologize.
Yeah, you can skip over. So I had this happen this morning and yesterday, both from ads, which I definitely feel there's such a big difference between people who come from an ad versus people who have any idea as far as who I am or what I do or just fitness coaching in general. And both of them, I mean, the discovery genuinely went great. Like they have a deep why, they just seemed super serious, wanted a coach, ready to invest, and to them, hiring a coach. So this morning, the girl literally thought it was going to be like $50 to $75 a month, and the girl yesterday, $125 was the highest she could possibly go per month.
Okay.
So like, you know, when they just have no idea what this even costs. I was talking to the girls earlier, but where they're like maybe comparing it to like a gym membership or, you know, a subscription on an app or something. Like, how do I even get that awareness out earlier?
The question of what's been holding you back from actually hiring a coach? Then they're gonna be like, well, I just don't know how much it costs. I don't know X, Y, Z. Then I'm gonna say, well, with everything that you just explained to me, where it's been impacting your confidence, your health, your mental health, the relationships that you have, how expensive has that been? Put a price tag on that for me. I can't put a price tag on that. And so if this program was $20,000, but you knew at the end of the program you were gonna be able to get everything that you've ever wanted, would it be worth it to maybe change your perspective around how much this is gonna cost into what is this investment gonna do for me? So then you start getting a value-based thinking. If somebody's cost-based thinking, which is those like $50, $100 a month people, they're just cost-based thinking, it doesn't matter. Like, you're not gonna be able to pitch them, you're not gonna be able to do anything with them. So that's why the proper discovery is so important, to be able to dig so much pain out or so much desire that it's actually worth $5,000 or $6,000 or $7,000 at the end of the call.
Yeah. I feel like I did do that. Like, there was a lot of pain, and there was a lot of like, this is super important and whatnot.
Did you ask them what it's cost them?
No.
That's what it would be. Because then it's comparing the cost of what that's cost them mentally, physically, and emotionally compared to the cost of the program.
Right.
So I want whatever it's costing them mentally, physically, and emotionally to be so painful or so desirable to get out of that state that they are willing to change no matter what it costs. Because then when Julia just said, well, that's way expensive compared to what I was thinking it was, what are you comparing it to?
Yeah, I like that. But compared to your groceries?
Compared to a gym membership, compared to a group, and then she's like, at 45 group coaching, right? You've been doing that for how long and it hasn't been able to get you to where you want to be. So if we continue doing things that are in our budget, what is it actually costing you?
Yeah.
If you continue to do things that are way cheaper and it's not actually going to give you the value that you deserve to be able to get out of your cycle, like, what is that going to lead you to? Because usually if we want to look for the cheapest things, if you want to go find a $100 a month coach, you could pay that coach for 16 months, $1,600, but then you're going to be stuck in the same exact spot. So now you didn't only just waste money, but you wasted another year and a half. And what is that going to lead you to? So then you could start really getting them out of that cost-based thinking and be like, this is worth $4,000 or $5,000.
Okay.
Cool?
When do you do that?
When?
When do you do the cost base? Because I feel like I need to do that on every single call.
You want to ask what it's cost them after their struggle.
So I do. I always ask them, what does it cost them? And then they tell me it's cost me this, this, and this, but I never wrapped it up to.
You could wrap it up by saying, so you could also add in the question, what's been the reason that you haven't been investing in a coach to be able to get you out of this cycle if it's been costing you that mentally, physically, emotionally? They're always going to say finances. Then from there, it's like, okay, so even if the coach was $500 a month, but they were able to get you out of everything that this has been costing you mentally, physically, emotionally, would it at least be worth it to explore that conversation to see if they can actually help you? Or just do some crazy number. If it was $2,000 a month, because like it will be anywhere from like $400 to $700 a month. So, and they might not even know that, but let's just say it's like $10,000. Would it still be worth it? Like that $5,000 analogy compared to a steak dinner compared to a Ferrari, I would be willing to spend any amount of $5,000 if I knew I was going to get $150K. If they say that they'd be willing to do that, they'd be willing to like pull out money out of their pillowcase to be able to do that, that's because they see value in a return on investment. So how valuable is the return on investment in your health? Extremely. It's way more than $150K. You know?
Whenever I say, what does that cost you, like, what's a better way to say that? Because I feel like I say, like, oh, like, how does it cost you, like, mentally, emotionally? And they're like, oh, it doesn't cost me anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
The next question for that be like, well, let's, like, take a step back and really think about this, because I think that you almost call if you didn't want to change or
So-
how would you kind of.
Yeah, if that question isn't landing for your specific prospect, like it lands really well for like B2B, right? Like if I'm talking B2B and somebody wants to make $10,000 a month and they haven't been able to make more than $2K a month, they're costing themselves $8,000 a month every single month. So I'll use that question every day of the week on B2B. For somebody who's more like a health offer, functional health, whatever it is, I'll always say, when you mention that you've been struggling with inconsistency and accountability, where have you really seen that popping up mentally, physically, and emotionally? Where has it negatively been showing up in your life that you're wanting to make a change now? That's going to make it so they start to open up really where it's been showing up mentally, physically, emotionally. So it's the same thing as costing them. But then you can ask, how uncomfortable has it been for you to feel that way? Okay? How uncomfortable has it been Yeah, how uncomfortable has it been for you to feel the way that you've been feeling? When you don't want to like try on your bikini, when you don't want to show up for yourself, when you look in the mirror and you don't love what you're seeing.
See, I feel like my girls like just have such a hard time opening up
For sure.
because like they've got half the ego.
Yeah,
So they're like I guess uncomfortable.
but you remember what I said?
And then you say like, and how does that show up?
Well, you could even relate to them. You could be like, I just dropped 50 pounds.
Yeah.
And before I did that, I was like, I don't need a coach. I was like, I am an athlete. I know what I need to do.
Right.
Do you know what that was? That was my ego telling me, like, I've done this before, so I could do it by myself. Do you know what that was costing me by allowing my ego to stop me from finding a coach? It cost me the fact that I just dropped 50 pounds in the last year and I'm not even close to done. And so what happens if you continue to allow this shield to be put up, because we have these egos as athletes, instead of putting the ego to the side, because a bad day for the ego is a great day for progress. So do you want to continue to allow your ego to block your progress, or do you want to take a step into the version of yourself that puts that ego to the side and steps forward? Yeah, that'll be fire. Absolutely. Anybody other?
And then do you sell just one? I'm sure you guys just sell the 12-month, right?
No, 6 months too.
Or you do 6 months, or like how do you pitch that? Because I just say, cool, logistically, here's how it's gonna work.
I only do one.
Okay.
And then 6 months is good for a downsell.
Okay.
Like I just got a closer on an offer where they have like 12 months, 6 months, 3 months. And then for all of those different options, they can break it up a million different ways. It makes it logistically like a nightmare. Like they could do $200 down and then split the rest up monthly. We just do like 1K down, split up the rest monthly. It increases the price if they don't do a paid in full. But if you want to go to a downsell of 6 months, you would do that after handling all of their uncertainty. So let's just say they're like, it is just way too much over that period of time. Like you get down to the fact that 10K is just way too much for the entire year. Well, what if I told you that we can discuss a smaller option, so that way you could still commit, but you don't have to allow the finances to hold you back? Because in the next 6 months, can you imagine how much progress you could see? And then you pitch a 6-month option and they're like, that's actually a lot more doable. Yeah. But only downsell after you've gone through all their uncertainty and everything. Because it's like trying to ask for a down payment after they just told you that they want to go and think about it. They're not going to give you any amount of money until you get past what the uncertainty is that's actually popping up.
Okay. And then I feel like I pitch so differently. I say like, cool, so after everything we just talked about for 12 months, it's either going to be a 2-time investment of blank blank or a pay in full today of blank. And so that's how I pitch it. But I don't know if you guys see.
I always just do PIF. So just do PIF first. So it's going to be a total investment of $8,400.
Okay.
And then quiet. Then they're always going to ask, can we break that up? Just like Julia did. Absolutely, breaking up is the easiest thing. Are you asking because you don't have the full amount? Are you asking because you need to break it up? And if we're able to break it up, you can move forward with it? Or is there still some level of uncertainty that's making you ask that question?
Okay.
Then they're going to explain, no, I got to check my budget. Or I got to think about it.
Okay.
And then from there, I'm going to say, well, we can break it up monthly as well. If we break it up monthly, it's going to go up $1,600. So it goes to $1,000 a month or whatever it is. So then you just explain it. But again, I don't really want to get into the logistical conversation until I get full certainty. So as soon as somebody asks that, before we even talk about breaking it up, do you believe that everything we went over today actually can get you to where you want to be? Yes. What about it specifically?
Okay.
And then be like, so if it is just a conversation around the finances, if we're able to have a conversation around that, would you be willing to move forward today if I can meet you where you're at? Yes. Beautiful. No, I still need to think about it. Then I'm just going into objection handling. Cool? Amazing. Any other questions? I'm tired of talking. Sweating up here, it's hot. Good? Amazing. Chad?
Yeah, take a 10-minute break.
10-minute breaker? Absolutely. How long was that? Oh my goodness. Yeah. Damn, it's already 12? Huh? We used to, but I stopped doing it because it will just like fill up your calendar once you start. Are you running ads?
Well, here's my thing. It's like my thing's volume, but any call I get, I close. So like my close rate is above 85.
So don't do disco calls.
I don't do
I
disco
feel
calls,
like
but that's my closing rate too.
Wait, do you do them?
I do.
Oh, if you do them, then keep them. I thought you meant you wanted to add them for some reason.
No, but I am running ads too. So I do.
And you're closing 85%?
Yeah.
That's fire. How much are you spending on ads?
$50 a day. I have a hot mom ad running right now. I literally just started it.
So you're spending like 1,500?
It's 11x ROAS right now.
Cash collected?
No, but that's
Contracted?
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like right now, I'm hiring an assistant coach because I'm like preparing all my bases.
Oh, fire.
But last month I did a lot of single moms.
Got you. And you're still closing them? You're still closing them?
I had one last month. She's like going through a divorce. She's 11-month-old, and I kind of went through. That's why it was so hard to do your little skit there, because I was like, well, I'm going against everything I said. But she was like, here, we're going through a divorce. My lawyer said, put her on this card. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So.
Like, did you close her on the call or was it a follow-up? So she already like had the conversation with her lawyers?